Welcome to the Sephirah Center of Shamanism. My name is Luke, experienced mentor and practitioner of the shamanic and occult sciences. On this channel, we break down all things relating to the ancient technologies of both shamanism and the occult, bringing them into balance with the modern psychology and deep psyche. Today, we're going to be talking about the medicine wheel, the process of shamanic initiation, what it looks like, and how it establishes a strong skeleton and foundation for one's journey into more advanced esoteric practices. So, if this is something that you are interested in, particularly those who are interested in the process of shamanic initiation and training, then I would highly recommend staying tuned. So, what I will start by saying is that there is not just one way to train within these teachings and practices. Shamanism is a highly personal journey of evolution. It's a very personal journey of connecting with the spirit world, a very personal journey of connecting with different aspects of yourself. It's about weakening the veil between the physical world and the world of spirit, learning how to work with trance to greater commune with the spirit world, learning how to work with the spirits in reciprocity, serving your community, as well as utilizing it as a powerful evolutionary technology for your soul. Okay, so because of how personal it is, there is not just one way to train. There are countless indigenous communities, countless traditions, countless practices that all have different ways of working. Yeah, it's important to realize that. Yeah. So the shamanic teachings have found their way into the modern world. You know, the most popular teachings are those of the Shipibo and the Kero within the Western world, anyway, with other spikes in Siberian shamanism, Mongolian shamanism, and many, many different traditions. Yeah. So it's important to realize that which tradition you study with or which tradition you choose to train with is highly individual. What I will say is that it's about bringing the ancient teachings and integrating them into the modern world. Yeah, so it's important to realize that if we do take the role of an indigenous shaman or an indigenous medicine worker and place this role into the Western world, it's going to be different. It's going to have to adapt to our Western world, to Western problems. Yeah, it's very important to realize that. Yeah. So for that reason, it is very important, in my view, to bring the ancient teachings into balance with the modern psychology. Yeah. And the medicine wheel is an amazing way to do that. Yeah. The medicine wheel, I see it as a very powerful initiatory technology that helps you to establish a very strong foundation for your shamanic practice. Yeah, so what that essentially means is that I see the medicine wheel as a skeleton of the practice. What it essentially represents is the four cardinal directions and the four elements and the four seasons. What it basically represents is the cycle of nature, the cycle of creation and destruction, the cycle of life and death. So when one interacts with the medicine wheel, they are essentially saying to their soul that they are ready to shift back into the natural flow of death and rebirth, creating, experiencing, dying, and rebirthing time and time again. Yeah, the medicine wheel is not a direct wheel that you just go around and repeat. It's almost like a spiral, yeah, an inward and upward spiral, yeah, where you get to know yourself more and more with every time you go round, shifting into closer resonance with your soul's evolutionary path. The medicine wheel establishes a strong foundation for numerous reasons. It gives you knowledge on yourself, knowledge on your shadow, knowledge on your trauma, so that you can start to really perceive the spirit world from the perspective of all is within. This is very important because when we start to explore, say, some of the indigenous teachings, yeah, regardless of what tradition it is, we need to be able to ground that information. Yeah, I've heard many stories and have met many people who have gone and received initiations in other countries. The most notable is, say, go to receive initiation from the Shipibo to work with the ayahuasca, understanding that ayahuasca is not shamanism, but that's one example that I've heard time and time again, as well as other countries as well, other shamanic traditions coming back with no foundation and really struggling to integrate those teachings, and in some cases, even falling into psychosis. Okay, the main reason for that is because they've gone and received these ancient rites of passage and have basically opened up doorways within their psyche, yeah, doorways to the spirit world, doorways within themselves, and then have come back to the modern world, come back to their old lives, and then they're not able to integrate that because they haven't been shown that all is within. Yeah, they haven't been shown that it is that the spirit world is directly connected to one's psyche. Yeah, so then that can lead to psychosis, it can lead to scapegoating, and it's that's when the practice can become quite dangerous. Okay, it's very important to realize that. So the medicine wheel is not the only way. Yeah, you do not have to go through the medicine wheel to train in shamanism, but what it does enable you to do is to shift yourself back into that natural flow, to start following your soul's evolutionary path, which is always going to be highly personal, and will also enable you to be able to ground other esoteric practices through the teachings of the medicine wheel. Yeah, for me, my shamanic initiation started with the medicine wheel, and I've since explored other indigenous traditions, such as the Kero, studying some of the Andean cosmovision, the Shipibo, the medicine teachings of the Amazon rainforest, Javanese shamanism, as well as some occult traditions as well, the Kabbalah, the Necronomicon, things like that. Yeah, without the medicine wheel, I would have struggled to integrate those teachings into my day-to-day life and see how they are actually connected to my own shadow. Okay, it's important to realize that. However, my experience is not going to be your experience. Yeah, so, yes, that was my experience, but that's not necessarily going to be yours. Okay, what I am going to do is I'm going to break down the four directions of the medicine wheel, the four stages of initiation. Okay, and I'm going to break them down to a very refined level so that you can understand what value this initiatory path has in your shamanic journey. Okay. So the medicine wheel that I'm speaking about specifically here is the Kero medicine wheel. The Kero medicine wheel begins in the south, goes to west, north, and then finishes in the east, the way of the rising sun, symbolic of the new beginning that comes at the end of the journey. So this medicine wheel, this initiatory system, comes from the Kero tradition, but is not directly tied to the Andean cosmovision. It's important to realize that. Yeah, the Andean cosmology is extremely complex and highly personal to the local land of the Kero. Okay, but this initiatory system has been changed to fit the modern world. Okay, so we're going to start in the south. The south direction of the medicine wheel is the first stage of the initiatory process and is ruled by none other than the serpent archetype, also known as Sachamama. It's here where the student learns to emanate the necessary qualities to ensure their sustainable practice of shamanism. It's here where we get no-sees on the trauma of our past. We learn what needs to change within our lives. We learn about certain things that may be draining our energy and may not be sustainable for our practice of shamanism. It's here where we have to learn the art of non-attachment, how to detach from the stories of our past. It's here where we learn that we cannot effectively heal when we are attaching to the stories that we have constructed around our traumas. So we have to learn to detach from those stories and effectively feel the emotion that's underneath so that we can transmute it. We also have to learn how to detach from the stories of others, shattering the illusions of martyrhood so that we can practice this work with sustainable energy levels. We also learn the art of non-suffering, how to detach ourselves from the responsibility to suffer in the collective world. We also learn the art of non-judgment, which doesn't remove judgment at all. It's a natural human thing. But non-judgment in the concept of utilizing the external world as the mirror, understanding that when we are looking and observing the actions of somebody else, there is a direct mirror. It doesn't mean that how they are behaving is our fault. It doesn't mean that the trauma that occurred is our fault. But we learn how to utilize the world around us as the avatar for the shadow that it actually is. We learn that our shadow self cannot directly communicate with us. So it has to communicate via the world around us. So we learn how to utilize the external world to identify the past traumas and the emotions that are attached to them so that we can effectively feel and alchemize them. The serpent medicine is a slow paced direction. Many students get impatient in the serpent energy and kind of creates a sensation like they are sort of wading through something. Yeah, because they are being forced into a place of having to slow down, forced into a place of having to observe their feelings, observe their emotions, and be present with them. In the serpent medicine, we have to learn how to shed the past like the serpent sheds her skin. I see the different layers of the snake's skin as the different personas that have been established to keep us safe from the chaos. In the serpent medicine, we have to shed those old layers of skin so that we can clear space for the new. The west direction of the medicine wheel is the second stage of the initiatory process and is ruled by Jaguar, also known as Otorongo. This is where things get interesting. The Jaguar medicine causes the student's psychic abilities to skyrocket as she rips away the veil, teaching us to see beyond it. It's here where we start to become aware of the illusions that we have created to keep ourselves safe from what lies within the shadow. It's very normal in the West direction for the student to start perceiving the toxicity in the external world more than they were before, as well as the beauty. The West direction comes with a very strong polarity. I kind of see it as the black jaguar and the light jaguar. Yeah, the light jaguar being very connected to the lighter aspects of the jaguar medicine, the playfulness, like a cat with a ball of string, whereas the black jaguar is very connected to the deep psyche, taking us into our internal jungle so that we can learn how to navigate it and integrate the hidden aspects of ourselves. It's in the jaguar medicine where we have to build an active and healthy relationship with our shadow self, utilizing it as an ally in our healing and evolutionary path. As our psychic abilities expand in the West, the importance of understanding our trauma and understanding that the spirit world is really a mirror of the unconscious mind becomes extremely important to be able to ground the energies. Okay, so in the West direction, where you start to learn some of the, you could call bread and butter aspects of shamanic healing, learning how to deal with different types of intrusive energies, and most importantly, learning their connection to the deep psyche. It's in the West direction where we learn how to befriend death energy, utilizing death energy as an ally to the point where we are able to carry out the practice of shamanic death, allowing the older aspects of ourselves to die to clear space for the new. It's in the West direction where you have to effectively learn to track your prey, the prey being the aspects of your life that you are ready to attain. The Jaguar medicine will push you to make changes, will push you to start to initiate the things in your day-to-day life that will really bring you the alchemy and the transformation that you are ready to attain. The north direction of the medicine wheel is the third stage of the initiatory process and is held by the hummingbird, also known as picoflorcito, also known as siwakenti. This is the direction that operates on the level of the soul, whereas the west direction was the mental and emotional, the south direction was the physical, the north direction operates on the level of the soul, which means that you have to learn to align to your soul's essence. Sounds beautiful on the surface, but that is a process. The north direction comes with a strong sensation of disillusion, yeah, where we have to let go of the aspects of ourselves that are depriving our soul's essence. To put it simply, the north is about learning to sip nectar from your life, learning to embody the magic and joy. But in doing so, you learn how you have actually been depriving your own magic and joy. You learn that it is actually you that has been stopping you from attaining what you are ready to attain. Yeah, it's in the north direction where we have to deal with the stuff that we may have bypassed in the south and the west. Okay, the north direction for many people often ends up taking the longest because it can take a bit of time to really learn what your soul's essence actually is, yeah, and how to align to it, alongside how to actually let go of the stuff that you have processed in the previous directions. You will not be able to pass through to the east until you start to integrate the essence of your soul. The north direction will break apart any illusions that are separating you from your soul's essence, and you will have to learn how to cultivate from the void space. In other words, you have to learn how to be your own teacher, how to retrieve the essences of your soul to start living the life that you are supposed to live. For me, in the north direction, that was when I started to get gnosis on my soul, what I was here to do, things relating to the deep psyche. I learned that my path is to really go into the deeper aspects of the shadow, look at some of the most repressed aspects of the cosmos and the shadow self, and bring them into balance with the pure awareness, with the light. That was where I really started to work with the occult sciences and really starting to align to myself in that way. Okay, but everybody has a highly individual journey in the north. It's literally pure infinity. It's in the north where you have to embrace what you don't know and embrace what simply cannot be known and learn how to be guided by your heart. The east direction of the medicine wheel is the fourth and I would say final aspect of the initiatory process, but because the east is the way of the rising sun, it's actually the beginning. It's here where we meet the eagle, where we have to learn how to transcend and fly into our destiny wing to wing with great spirit. Okay. The serpent medicine operates on the physical, the jaguar operates on the mental and emotional, the hummingbird operates on the level of the soul, the eagle operates on the level of spirit. Yeah. The eagle medicine is about aligning to that space of oneness, learning how to rise above problems and see things holistically. You learn the way of the visionary, your psychic abilities expand further, and you learn how to undergo that final energetic death of everything that you have processed within the previous directions so that you can effectively clear space for something new. The east is more of a gateway. You don't really spend very long in the east. The caveat is that the east direction, eagles don't really spend very long in the sky. Yeah. So when we embody the eagle medicine, we'll be flying for a very short space of time before we travel through that gateway, quantum leap into a new reality, and then crash straight back into the south and go round again. It's in the east direction where we have to really let go of the baggage of the previous directions in order to fly free. Once you have passed through that gateway, you have effectively initiated the medicine wheel, but the journey does not end there. Past the east direction, you will be shifting back into the south to go round again and again and again. This is a lifelong process of shifting through these different cycles of life, going through the cycles of death and rebirth so that you can align closer and closer to your true self. Okay, the medicine wheel is a solid initiatory system. Traditional shamans may say that this method of shamanic initiation is not valid. However, it's an extremely personal process. And I, for myself, and what I've seen with other people, the medicine wheel is life-changing. Yeah, in order to be able to integrate the teachings of shamanism into our modern world, we need to first shift ourselves back into that natural flow of nature. The medicine wheel is a solid initiatory system, extremely powerful, and will really give someone the gnosis of their soul that they need to be able to effectively carry their shamanic practice forward, whatever that may look like. Okay. But remember that it is a continuous process. Yeah, it's a continuous medicine spiral. This is the wrong path for those who are seeking an end point. Once you've opened the door, once you've activated these directions, these dormant energies within you, those doors are open and you've got to step through. So before committing to a process like this, really feel into whether it's something that you want and whether it's something that you are ready for. So thank you guys. Very interesting subject today. That's all I'm going to talk about for now. If you are interested in learning more about the medicine wheel, then feel free to get in touch as I offer this initiatory system myself. Click the link in the description. Like and subscribe if this video was of value to you, and I will see you in the next video.